Jealousy. Jealousy is a very common hot topic. Being jealous is something we're familiar with. It's something we don't want to be. It's oftentimes a trait that we'd rather not have. We'd rather be happy with everything that we have. We'd rather not need or want anything. Yet, jealousy is very oftentimes subconscious. Jealousy is oftentimes something that's automatic, and we want to deal with it. And we know that it's better not to be jealous, and we may ask ourselves, am I really happy for someone, or am I just jealous and I'm eating myself up inside, or I just unhappy with life because I see others that have it so much better than I? So where do we stand? The truth of the matter is, jealousy is something that most people feel, and it is a natural reaction. But where do we stay? We can feel jealousy, but how do we act upon it? And you could rate yourself based on this video, and I hope to give you some insights on jealousy and hopefully a practical tip at the end. Okay. In Parshas Vayetchanan, we learn about jealousy. It says, "And you shall not covet your fellow's wife, and you shall not desire your fellow's house, his field, his slave, his maidservant, his ox, his donkey, or anything that belongs to your fellow." Perhaps one of the hardest things to do and understand, let alone fulfill, is jealousy. Lo sachmod, not to be jealous, right? It's very hard not to be jealous. As our sage Ibn Ezra asks, how can the Torah command us not to feel an emotion that comes naturally when someone has something that we would like to have? For example, when the neighbor redoes his house or builds a pool, it is natural for us to also want to renovate our house and put in a pool. So there's two powerful explanations that could show you how to respond to jealousy and how to overcome jealousy, and rate yourself, where do you stand as of now? So explanation number one, the Ibn Ezra answers this question through a parable. Imagine that a commoner who visits a royal palace, he sees a beautiful princess coming out from the palace, or she's in the palace walking around. He's viewing the beautiful grounds. He sees the princess step outside, her royal garments. Though he is really struck by her glamour and beauty, does he think for a moment, I want to marry her? Absolutely not, because she is out of his league. Most people wouldn't even entertain that thought for a second. She's not in my league, he would think. People desire something that they can conceivably have, not something that is totally out of reach. Right? When we see a gorgeous house that we know we can't afford based on our current means, we can fantasize about it. We can be, be happy for the person, but we know that this isn't within our reach as of now. So we may be jealous of someone who is in our neighborhood, living in a house we probably could afford, and is renovating their home and making it so much better. And like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. I could do this too. So this is really the root of jealousy, something that we can have, not something that we cannot reach. The same holds true for someone else's possessions. We should train ourselves to realize, the Ibn Ezra says, that since Hashem gave the pool to the neighbor, it is something that he wants the neighbor to have, not us. As such, it should not be even in the realm of our desires. So a practical tip number one is that when we see someone has something that we just can't have, maybe you have one or two children and the other family has so much more, right? Or that tremendously renovated home, or so many assets and means. Usually it's something that's materialistic, right? We should train ourselves that this is not within my league. This is not even there. We could think about the princess and the commoner. This is not within my reach. And yes, it's okay to have goals and strive to overcome them, but it doesn't help us to become jealous to overcome our goals. First, a person needs to truly be happy with what they have, to be grateful to Hashem. Hashem gives to those who are grateful. It has bracha, it has blessing. But if we're always complaining, just like a child, a mother can have a number of children, and one of her children is constantly grateful, never really asks for much. That mother wants to do so much more for that child, versus the child who, whatever they have, they complain, they compare, they don't share, they want more, constantly complaining, right? So Hashem doesn't want to give to a person who is constantly complaining and is constantly ungrateful. Okay, explanation number 2. Rav Simcha Zissel gives another explanation from the Ramban. The Ramban cites the following midrash. The 10 commandments are all repeated in Parshas Kedoshim in some form or another. For example, the parallel to Lo Sachmod is love your neighbor as yourself. So not to be jealous is, how do we do the opposite of not to be jealous? Is love your neighbor as yourself, as it's written in Vayikra verse 18. Rav Simcha Zissel explains the correlation between the two. So what's the correlation between loving your neighbor as yourself and not to be jealous? So did you ever hear of a father and a mother who wish that their children would have less material possessions just because they had less when they were in the same stage of life? No way. Every single parent wants their child to succeed, to have more than they did, to prosper in life, and only good things should happen. That's a parent's biggest nachat, right? Biggest happiness in life, pleasure from their children. Parents are thrilled when their children have more than they did. Why? Because they love their children as much as they love themselves, if not more. So they are happy when their children can afford anything that they want. If we would truly fulfill the commandment to love every Jew as we love ourselves, says Rav Simcha Zissel, we wouldn't feel jealous of them for owning possessions that we cannot afford. We would be happy for them, just as we are happy when our own children have more than we do. Every single Jew is Hashem's child, right? And we have to understand that Hashem is happy for them. Hashem wants them to have more. And if I'm truly loving my neighbor as myself, then I'm going to be happy when they have. And remember, just because someone else has doesn't mean you can't have. Hashem has enough for everyone. We just need to be a vessel for that blessing, ask Hashem, and to be grateful. So 2 tips. The first one is to tell yourself this isn't within my league. And the second one is to tell ourselves that just like I want someone to love my children and wish them happiness, someone to see my kids succeed, and if you don't have kids, someone close to me succeed, I'm going to be happy when someone else succeeds. Remember, that person is also someone else's child. But that everyone has a mother and a father, even if they haven't raised them. That parent wishes them only success. And we were appreciating the insights of Rabbi Frand on the Parsha Vayet Hanan, Leah Abramov being and becoming, awakening awareness of your greatness and potential.